Hello, Kristen Lippert-Martin here, and today I want to talk about passion. Passion, well, I'm using passion and inspiration interchangeably because I want to talk about what inspired me to write my novel, Tabula Rasa, which is about a 16-year-old girl who is in what she thinks is a hospital in the middle of nowhere, but it turns out that's not really, she's not where she thinks she is. And this is something she discovers when people start trying to kill her. It's hard for me to think of one single point of inspiration. I feel like the story, to some extent, was, multiple points of inspiration that sort of, imploded into a story. But okay, if I had to come up with a single image, I guess, that sort of inspired the story. I started writing Tabula Rasa in June. I remember, actually, I think it was June 23rd, 2011. And I was on sub. I had a manuscript that was on submission, and I also had just had a baby. 4 months earlier, 2 months? No, yeah, I had a baby in April and I started the book in June, so it was that 2 months. So I was what sort of state would you say I was in at the time? I was crazy, twitchy, dejected, prone to shouting, "I can't take it anymore," at moments in the grocery store. And just exhausted. I was like one brain sandwich away from being an actual zombie at the time, but I had this image in my head. I think part of it was that I was on submission and I was getting feedback about my main characters, and it wasn't particularly positive, and I was just thinking about most of my main characters seem to have in common that they are, they're people who are seeking redemption. They are often guilt-stricken about having done something or trying to make up for something that they've done in the past. So what this says about me, I don't know. Okay, so back to inspiration. So I have this tendency for this sort of recurring theme in my stories of a character who sort of knows they've done something wrong, trying to make amends, trying to do things new or really do things over. And here's where it helps to be in the realm of science fiction because, while in real life there are no do-overs, I was trying to think of ways, well, if a character had done something terrible and, we have this idea of this youthful offender who can be rehabilitated and, because you're young and you deserve a second chance, the whole idea of like juvie and things like that strikes me that, we make this distinction between young people as being capable of change, whereas adults are not. And, the idea of rehabilitating someone who had done something terrible, I thought, even if you, sort of served your time or, whatever whatever responsibility you took for your actions, you always have to live with that, knowing what you did wrong. So I just started thinking about this idea of, the do-over, really giving somebody a second chance would mean, you can't go back in time and undo what they did, but maybe you can take that memory away. And I just was kind of fascinated with this idea, would you be innocent again if you couldn't remember having committed this crime? So the story, the book is called Tabula Rasa, which means blank slate. I think it actually literally means scraped table. So you're just wiping clean, starting over. So that image of this girl, there was this, very strong image that stayed with me of this girl who is just sitting in this hospital alone, and she doesn't know who she is, and she's about to go through this memory wiping process, and it's not a easy, take a spoonful of medicine and your memories, the memories are removed. It's much more involved and not very pleasant. So she's sitting in this hospital, waiting for this process to begin, not knowing who she is, suspecting that she might be a monster, because she's been led to believe that. And that idea just really captured my imagination. And then from there, I was just playing with this idea of, identity and how we build our identity, and how someone in this situation who had no, they have no memories, they have no landmarks, they have nothing to guide them in trying to understand who they are, and really every reason to suspect that who they are is not a good person, not a person worth saving. How does she cope with that? So that was the, inspiration, the passion, the idea of this girl in this situation is what pushed me to write this story at a time that was just so hard for me, where I was just really struggling, really tired. And so when I think about that time in my life, I'm sort of amazed, and I've joked a couple of times that I don't really remember writing portions of this book because I was just so exhausted. But so that's my story. I'm not really sure how to end this video, so I'm just gonna go.